I had a teacher who was called Mr. Sharma, who came from India. He said a lot of awful things about Pakistan that time. I got annoyed and I walked out of the class and went to the principal to go and complain that he is saying bad things about somebody whose country which is from my religion. And that was an identity which I was socialized to see it as my identity as a Muslim. Then, of course, I also come from a country today which is my neighbors is the country I come from, with about 20% Muslims. But we have so much harmony in that country that you could say with all our perfections, it is better than my neighbor, which is called Somalia, which is populated by 100% Muslims, 100% Somalis. They find reason to fight one another on clanism, on everything you can imagine. So the sense of identity does not stop anywhere. You are a Muslim, you come Punjabi, you come God knows what, until you get to the family. And that's why many countries that are tribalized do not go far, regardless of what system that's in place. The first time you say, let's have Baluchistan, let's have Punjab, let's have Patan, and all these other areas, when you go to Baluchistan, you have a reason to divide yourselves again. When you go to, whatever, I was talking to my friend, I have 2 Asian members of parliament who were elected 100% by a constituency that has no Asians. But they were elected on the basis, and they're here with me. I think they can stand up if they're here. Is Dawood here? One of them is there for the 4th term. He is loved by his constituents, and none of them comes from the Indian subcontinent or from Pakistan. But he originally comes from Pakistan himself. So what you need in a devolution and federalism and in a constitution is a way in which you appreciate the content of the character of the political class and what they're able to deliver, as opposed to whether they come from this region, or they come from that region, or they come from this tribe or this clan, because those ones have never taken us anywhere. Now, we also fought. When I first came to Parliament 30 years ago, as a very young man, I asked a question in Parliament how much money was given to my own region, which is 1/3 of the country, for development. For 30 years, it was only $5 million. Fought very hard for devolution. Do you know how much my region gets right now per year? $400 million. I can tell you that $5 million, which came from the center 30 years ago, has had more impact in the region than the $500 million that we get annually. What does that tell you? That tells you that devolution in itself, regardless of how well the Constitution is constructed, is not the roadway to peace and development for the people out there who are fearing the marginalization from the center. It's a question of how that money is used. And that, because of elections, one election after the other in our country, more often than not, it either ends up in the pockets of people, individual leaders, governors, and everybody else who's there, in the pockets of small clans, in the pockets of this, and a lot of it might even go in the form of corruption to the center. Because the president who's running for the government will need the support of all the regions in the country, so the center is not going to hold accountable to those fundings. So the point I'm trying to tell you is that in the Constitution, I support federalism. I support the devolution of services and other resources. But there has to be structures in place that is so perfect that everybody is held accountable to his actions and her actions. Only then will you have the fairness on the ground. Only then will somebody be appreciated for his or her character, as opposed to where he comes from, what section he belongs to, what madhab he has, whether he's a Sufi or whether he is this or that. I mean, those are the kind of things we have all over. So my advice to you is, I came in here, I'm going to give my own presentation. I think tomorrow is when I'm slotted. But I really felt that I must say something about the devolution and federalism and devolving power and resources to the periphery and how best it can be used only if there is a system in place that's going to make sure that it delivers. But if it's not there in place, then it perpetuates the corruption, it perpetuates the inequality that was there from the beginning, and that goes on and on. Thank you very much.